That worked.
Now we're live. What's up,
Wow.
everybody? Welcome back. I don't know. I kept hitting go live on my end. It said an error occurred. I tried to type it in chat, and it said the comment has failed to post. I don't know.
We're rookies.
But we're here.
Same.
Every week it's a new adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
That's for
Creole
sure.
went live.
Who's that guy?
I know, right?
Well, welcome back, everybody. It's another Tuesday night. Chat with the Muskrat, Mr. Creole Catfish, and tonight we are joined by Uncle Josh. What's up, brother?
Hi. How y'all doing?
He is on location. He's pulled over and safe. We're gonna do the show from the fishing expedition.
Yep.
But I seen a couple comments asking if I was going to be awake in time. Shoot, I wouldn't miss this. Buckeye catfishing. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Did a marathon fish off last night and went pretty good. So we'll talk a little bit about that here in just a few minutes. Before we get started, we'll say hello to some folks hanging out in chat already. We got Buckeye Catfishing. We got Big Rich. What's going on, Brian? Mrs. Uptown, Chrissy Brown, channel member. Thank you for stopping in. Thanks for your support. Donald Knight Sr.'s in the house. David Smith. Fishing with the Squirrel. What's going on, buddy? Terry Stanfield in the house. Up on me. There he goes. Piscator Outdoors. I know I messed that up somehow, but welcome. Thank you for stopping in. Harold Bolton, another channel member. What's going on? Kevin Fishes. What's up, everyone? What's up, buddy? Uncle Jeep's in the house. Beep, beep. Dale Hayslip. Some of the folk, I think Dale hung out with us most of the night last night. We fished all night long last night. Fished from.
That's awesome.
I hit the water about, I think, 7 o'clock off the water till 11 o'clock this morning. So we caught quite a few fish, caught some better quality fish. That's what I was really after. Been on a trend here lately that fish we've been catching, around the 8 to 10 pound mark, which is kind of typical for around here. But me and my daughter and son-in-law went out yesterday morning and went out and caught a mess of bluegill and crappie. There you go.
I had to. I've got to give a shout out. LSU Tigers brought home the championship 7 times. Yep, baseball. Go Tigers.
Hey, welcome in, Danny Stone.
Did they get any touchdowns?
Tying up shark rigs are listening. Uh-oh. Danny's been talking about the shark fishing, heading to Florida with the kids. So looking forward to seeing some random live streams going down there. B&B Fishing, what's going on? Thanks for stopping in. Catfish Regulars, what's up, Aaron? Freddy's Outdoor Adventures, what's up, brother? Saying hello to chat. Can't chat, making dragon weights, but listening. Hey, you signed up for it, man.
Yep.
You turned your passion into work. There's the Tanya Hollis, the Catfishing Queen. What's going on, Tanya? Another channel member. Appreciate you stopping in. Appreciate the love. Let's see. It jumped on me. I think I've got everybody so far. But hey, there's buddy Willie Cahoon. What's going on, buddy? They spawning on the bay now, buddy. I got you. I heard this last weekend wasn't too bad. I got I think John Orler sent me some pictures and update. It's still catching them up on the bay. Here's Miss Becca. She hung out with me all night long, keeping me awake and keeping the chat rolling. Got a little crazy at times, I'm telling you. Boss is in the house.
Gotta watch.
See, I don't know if we want to know what that means.
Yeah, it's my son took an old computer out of the closet, hooked it all up, wired everything, and is now playing his farming simulator game all by himself.
I can't do that. if you just look
Good job,
at how
dude.
the signal's going, we have a hard time just keeping this thing up and running.
It's a struggle.
Brandon's in the house. He hung out with us most of the night too. Kept us entertained. Kept us laughing. Cat fam listening while working 15 hours in so far. Boy, he's pulling a long shift like we did yesterday. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. And that's Catfishing's in the house. Saturday we got some good footage, but slowed down big time. I was wondering about that. I've been wanting to take my daughter and my son-in-law up to the bay and just show them what it's capable of. And they get out and fish some, but they don't get to fish a lot. I thought, man, if I could get them up there, they'd talk about it for the rest of their life. So, but we got Josh tuned in with us tonight, and we're going to talk about some knives. All right, so we know that Uncle Josh is famous for his blacksmithing abilities, and so Jeremy actually come up with the idea. He said, why don't we talk about, we all use knives constantly in catfishing. Either you're running a bait knife or you keep a knife on your hip or in your pocket. Most of us carry around a pocket knife every day, and it's just a tool. What? My computer's trying to restart. For most of us, it's just a tool that we don't think a whole lot about. But guys like Josh, who have a passion for it, there's a lot of detail that we overlook as far as materials when choosing blades. Things to think about when you're choosing a blade style for the type of application that you're going to use it for. And then material, what it's made of, how it's going to last, how to care for it, and things like that. So we thought, hey, let's get Josh in here. We'll talk a little bit about some basics of blades and metal. So first of all, welcome in, Josh. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Appreciate y'all inviting me and having an opportunity to talk about something that my friends hear me talk about a little too often. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
Well, for anybody
that's one of my favorite knives.
For anybody who is not familiar with you, Josh, if you could just kind of introduce yourself, where you're from, give your family, and just give everybody a rough draft of who Josh is.
Okay. Hi, I'm Uncle Josh. Mostly from 1 Ton Fishing Club. I'm 1/4 of the ton myself, and that's right. I like that hat. Look, I'm not even wearing one.
1-tonners for life.
That's right. Married, been married about 20 years now, going on 21.
Wow.
I've got a 24-year-old son that's married and living in Oklahoma. My wife and I currently reside in Virginia, and that's about it as far as like regular stuff. I started making knives. It's probably been 7 or 8 years ago. My wife said she was tired of me buying knives, so she said, "Why don't you just go make them?" And I was like, maybe.
How often do you make her eat those words?
Daily. She definitely regrets ever saying that to me. However, I mean, it's turned into more than just a hobby now, so it's slowly growing. I'd love for it to one day be a true business. That would be a very expensive hobby. It is, and honestly, that's why I even ever started selling my knives. Like straight up was just to make more. Just to make it so I can make my own knives. She, more than permission, she made me do it. She's like, stop buying knives. You keep breaking them. You're not happy with the ones you buy. And that was true, though. That honest guy was true. I was buying swords, all kinds of stuff, on those home shopping, because they make them look cool. And the first time you try to baton a piece of firewood and it breaks in half, and it's just like useless. So I'm happy to make knives now that I want to use. And then if other people want to use them and decide to buy them, that's fantastic. And if they don't, then I got a cool knife.
Yeah, there you go. I know quite a few of your custom knives floating around, right here in the community. We were talking earlier, the Fishing Fetish has one of your custom made, really more of a universal knife. I don't know if you can call it a big, that thing, anything. I know Miss Michelle, custom shit. You've got a few floating around now.
Yeah. I think I made, last year, I want to say I made close to 200 knives.
Holy cow.
Last year, yeah. So I was making them nights, weekends, whenever I could when I wasn't working. So I'm starting to pick back up. I had kind of taken a little break for a while, had to handle some health stuff, and decided to get back into it here lately, and it's like I never stopped. So if you're rough on a knife, hold the edge. That's right. Yeah, thank you, David. David's got a really cool knife too. Yeah, I love it.
Here's a good question from Willie Cahoon. It says, what's average size bait knife that people like, as far as blade length?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because a lot of people, when they think of a bait knife, what they're really thinking of is something like this, all right? But this is not really a bait knife for normal baits, right? It's got flex. This is a fillet knife, right?
Right.
Yes, you can cut bait with this, but for me personally, this is more for a final, cleaning my fish, right?
Right, yeah, that's
designed. Yeah, and I'm sorry, let me get it a little closer, Mark. So this one's with a deer antler handle. Believe it or not, I actually made this out of an old file. I did a spark test on it and stuff like that to make sure it had a high carbon content. But yeah, like I would say for blade length, one of my current favorite bait knives, well, let me do this one actually. So this one, and this one's a little, it ain't the prettiest in the world right now because it's something I use, right? So this has got about a 5-inch blade. It's kind of like a sax or sheep's foot, some people would call it.
Right.
This custom handle, I actually made this one myself. I usually buy like my handle materials because other people do it really well, and I was like, you know what, I want to try it. So this one's mahogany, and you can see it's got a blue liner in it and a red little section, and then it's a mosaic pin on the end there. But yeah, so this is the size that I would normally use for like your average baits, like bluegill, eel. I know a lot of people up in the Potomac are using eel. Let's see. Hey, I got hey brother. What's up, Chris? So that's kind of my go-to. Now this one here is actually really, really light. It's very, very like a thin, probably 1/16 of an inch thick steel. I actually bought this steel. I source a lot of it, and then I also just order some for specific use. This is a piece of 1095, nothing fancy. That I did an acid etch. That's why the blade is black. But that's kind of, that was a long answer, I know. Hope he didn't get pulled over. No, I didn't.
Good. I mean,
that's sitting at a restaurant.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, he's got all these knives in the car. I bet he don't pick up too many hitchhikers. He's like, yeah,
all right.
No, I'm good.
They wouldn't have anywhere to sit. Y'all see? Come on, try it.
That's awesome.
Nothing but fishing.
I love it.
But yeah, that's. Is he cutting bait with a samurai sword? I could. Yeah, I've made a couple swords too. That's not going to be a regular occurrence for me. I've come to realize like the sword making is fun.
Yeah.
But it's tough.
Yeah, I bet.
I can only imagine. Fracture Fix is in the house. Says I got 4 of his knives. My brisket knife is a.
Yeah,
Roger and I are both having issues tonight.
Yeah, am I cutting out too?
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit too. You'll freeze up every now and then. Your audio will stay, but your video will freeze up. And I don't know if I fixed my mic issue or not.
It's a little crackly, but it's.
Yeah, that brisket knife that Fracture Fix has, that thing is a beast. Yeah, and it is stupid sharp. Because he actually requested that I leave the Rockwell hardness a little harder than what you would normally do for a knife, just simply because he wanted to have a good, strong, hard edge that he didn't have to sharpen all the time for cutting brisket. So I was able to do that, and I just asked him, don't baton it. Don't hit it with anything. It should still hold up, but I would not want to take the chance. What about a small axe handle? Is he asking for?
I'm not sure.
Did I miss part of that question, bud? Just use the whole fish. Man, I don't know.
He's a TikToker. He lives just a little south of me, but I definitely wanted to shout him out.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. That we normally we'll use bluegills and bullheads whole, mainly for flatheads. But Art and I went the other day to a pond, and we got these darn bullheads that were, I swear, close to 2 pounds, if not bigger. They were huge. I took them home and filleted them. I mean, I couldn't bring myself to use them for bait, but something like that you'd need a big knife for if you decided to cut them up. But,
yeah. So you're heading out and you're buying a knife. Give us kind of your your top metals to look for. So whether like a fillet knife, a working knife, or an everyday knife, what are some of the things that people? Because I know you rattled off some numbers and things, but to me, I don't have any idea what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a way to kind of see that scale or how that works to give us an idea of what we're looking at when we see those numbers?
Yeah, so it's literally a science. They call it metallurgy. There's literally people out there that can tell you the chrome content, the alloys that's in all the steels. Right. I'm not that guy. I just know from experience, from using my knives, what I prefer depending on the knife. If it's something that I need to make sure it will be less likely to rust, I'm going to go one of two ways. I'm going to go with either a stainless steel, like a 440C stainless steel, which the 440C, it has a little more chromium in it, so it can get a little bit harder of a blade. Because most stainless doesn't hold an edge. But like Michelle's chef's knife that I made her, that's made out of 440C stainless.
Okay.
And that would be my go-to for a kitchen knife first and foremost, because it is always going to stay rough. I mean, stay wet. So at least my knives anyway in the kitchen. But then you've got other steels that were like what they call tool steels. So these are literally steels that they would make like a saw blade out of, a chisel, your lawnmower blade. All those are tool steels. There's different variances like 01, 02, all kinds of different crazy numbers. Just about any of them are good. Most tool steels, they're a little bit harder, like on my end, to work with. Just because, like when you're hammering them, it takes a lot more to move the metal. because some metal, when you heat it up, it gets a lot softer than other metals. So, the tool steels are definitely one that is a really, really good steel to use. Then you have like your spring steels, and this is the ones I'm talking about here mostly, y'all, are ones that you can go to a junkyard and find, and still make quality knives out of. Like I have one that I just made out of a leaf spring from a car. It was an old like 1960s. I don't even remember what it was, but it was sweet. I actually have it right here. So this is the knife.
Oh yeah.
It was designed. An initial blade was designed after a K-bar.
Okay.
But then they wanted to add a gut hook to it, and then they wanted to go full tang instead of having like pieces of leather that are stacked. This is a 1/4 inch thick spine.
Holy cow!
This is a really heavy beastie knife.
Yeah.
And it's I left it what they call brute de forge. So you see how you can see like some of my hammer marks, because that's something I try to do on every one of my knives is I try to make sure that I hammer the bevels. So Art's forehead as a hammer. yeah. I tell you, I'd love a power hammer. Oh man. But at the same time, just to move subjects, when you mention a power hammer, it's literally just an automated hammer, so you don't have to sit there and swing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's great if you're doing production knives and stuff like that, and I would love to have one, but at the same time, I feel like I'm going to miss a lot of the reason that I forge. And that's to get out there and just pound the crap out of some steel until it goes from something fugly to something beautiful.
There you go.
There's nothing like it.
I imagine myself like Ralphie off of Christmas Story.
Yeah, that'd be me too, especially like if I forget which hand I'm supposed to grab the tongs with after they're already hot, because I wear a glove on one hand and I don't wear one on the other.
Yeah.
So I'm all the time burning and cutting myself. Yeah, full tang, always for the win. Yeah, it depends. I'm glad you highlighted that, because that's one of the things that's I agree, but I also respectfully disagree slightly, because I think it's just a matter of what you're going to use it for. Like for instance, this fillet knife, I don't need a full tang. I'm not going to be pounding on anything. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be trying to chop firewood with it. Now you get something like this butcher knife that I just made. All right, so that again, 1/4 inch steel. It's a piece. The guy wanted to chop barbecue with it, and he wanted to be able to cut through some ribs. It'll do it.
Do it.
There's Art Josh. Is an artist. Thank you. So something like that. Yeah, I'm going full tang all the way. And for anybody that doesn't know, full tang is literally where the tip of the blade all the way to the end of the handle is one solid piece of steel.
Yeah.
Okay. Varying thicknesses as far as the blade goes, though, because like you'll notice on a lot of my knives, I'll taper it so that it's thinner towards the tip and not so much by the handle. And a lot of times that's literally just to take some weight off the blade. When are you gonna make a mini Klingon? I don't know. Might have to send me a picture of that, Buck. I might have to look into it, because I definitely got some crazy ones. Here's what I think might end up being my new bait knife, just because I like it and it feels good in my hand. So this steel right here actually came from about 100-year-old sawmill blade. Circuit.
Oh wow.
Blade. so it's considered to be a tool steel. And then this antler right here, this is actually a drop tine from a moose.
Wow.
My uncle brought it down to me from New Hampshire over the winter, and so I was like, what in the heck am I going to use this big round moose antler for? But then I was like, well, I can make something out of the tines.
Yeah.
And it's worked really well.
Yeah. So what about, I seen Pam in there asked about bait knives. I think you just answered that. He definitely makes a wide variety of bait knives, depending on what your needs are. What about blade maintenance and care? So whether you purchased a blade from a blacksmith, or you purchase a commercial blade or something from a store, is there anything that you need to watch out for, or care or maintenance that you need to do to keep these things in good condition?
Yes. So that's a really good question. So a couple of things that you have to keep in mind that can completely ruin a blade. One is temperature.
Wow.
You don't want to be sticking your blade in the fire like Outdoor Boys does. He kills me and he makes knives. I don't know if y'all watch that channel, but it's a great channel. Yeah. But he'll stoke the fire with it, or I cringe whenever I see it, because you can mess up the ability to keep an edge on the blade. So that's one. It's temperature. Abrasives. So if you have a sheath, don't put your knife back in that sheath until you've wiped it off to get rid of any sand or dirt, because what's going to end up happening is it's either going to go ahead and scratch your blade now, or it's going to get embedded in your leather, and then it's going to scratch it every time you take it in and out. And then the last one is moisture. You got to watch out for moisture. I mean, any kind of metal, even stainless steel, while it is much more resistant, stainless steel can still tarnish. I'll give you some examples of regular knives. Let's see.
We got Tom here said he won an Uncle Josh's bait knife and a sheath during a giveaway. It's so nice. I haven't wanted to cut bait with it. She called him out earlier, said he's got a really nice bait knife, but he won't use it.
Yeah, I really like that knife, actually. That one's one of my. Well, I mean, I say all of them are pretty much my favorites, because it's true, man. When I make a knife, I'm gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it in a way that I wouldn't want to use it.
Right.
If that makes sense. So here's a good example of what happens if you don't take care of your knife. And I brought this one on purpose because this is my regular use. This is the knife I keep on our boat. I got a boat a few months ago. I don't know if you guys knew that, but and you can see it's got rust on the edge. The rest of it doesn't, because I acid etched it, so it basically forced old age on the blade. But this is just an example of something that I didn't do a good job keeping it dry. And it wasn't even that I didn't wipe it off. It was I left it in. Let's see, I don't have it right here. Yes, I do. I just had a generic box on the boat that I kept a couple of knives on. And what happened is the temperature changes caused water damage in the box just from condensation.
Yeah.
And because of that, it rusted my knife. So yeah, that's a really good question though. So I definitely recommend keep your knives clean. Don't be like Aaron and just leave it on the cutting board with stuff on it. I hope he's in there so I can talk junk to him. Catfish regulators, I called you out, man. But a lot of people do it though. It's just easier to leave the knife on the cutting board and that it is what it is kind of thing. But use some oil, depending on what you're using the knife for. If it's going to be used for any kind of food, then you want to use a food grade oil. So you can use things like olive oil, mineral oil, stuff like that you would be able to use like on a cutting board. Stuff that won't hurt you or go rancid, because you do have to watch that it doesn't go rancid. So like if you try to put butter on your blade, I've had customers do that, and it went rancid, and they were wondering why their sheath stunk so much. Like, because it's not made for that.
Oh wow.
So just pick the type of oil based on what you're using it for. If it's something that will never touch food, like if it's a true bait knife, then put whatever you got. I don't care if you use motor oil, whatever. Just do something to protect the blade.
Gotcha. Yeah. I am very, very hard. I've had a bubble blade. I don't know what they're made of or how they're made, really. But I put that thing through so much neglect. It is sad.
Yeah.
But it holds a good edge, and I can clean it back up, and it keeps doing the purpose. I like the serrated edge on it because, like Jeremy and I, we like big baits. So I'm often sawing through some carp and things like that.
I like big baits, and I cannot lie.
That's right.
This guy's watched the show before.
Exactly. And honestly, there's nothing wrong. Like, a lot of people are like, well, you make knives, you must really hate Bubba Blades and the cheaper knife companies, and no, absolutely not. I own multiple other knives, and it's just because there's a use for them. Do I want to use a $200 knife on a regular basis to dig in the dirt with, or chop wood with? No, I don't.
Yeah.
So, it all has its stuff. Hey, Jared, what's up, man?
There you go. I want to make sure you saw it.
Thank you. Yeah, because I can't see the chat on my phone. It's just
I've been trying to highlight stuff to make sure you get your attention there, but I appreciate it. I've got it's actually a shame that they discontinued the knife I use. To me, like one of the biggest draws for a knife for me, a bait knife, that's what I'm using a knife most of the time for, is the grip. Having a good secure grip on the handle, because they can all have a very sharp edge, and ideally they do. But if you don't have a good grip, it's dangerous. We're dealing with slimy hands and wet fingers and bloods and guts and everything else. And to me, the grip is almost as equally or maybe more important than the blade itself, is to make sure I can keep hold of it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because how often do we cut bait and end up, with the slime and all that crap all over our hands? I'll give you a couple of good examples. So, like this knife right here, it's a small little bait knife, but it's like just right because it's got a fat handle, and I have so much control, it's unreal. So I would use this for bait. What I wouldn't use for bait is this chef's knife. All right, so this, because it's got a small handle. Now, I've had a lot of people asking, why does it have such a small handle? Well, because with my chef's knives, I use them like this. And I sit there and, I do that. So I like a smaller handle on chef's knives because I hold the blade. So would I try to cut bait with this? I know a guy that can fix it if I messed it up, so maybe. But that guy, by the way. But I would prefer not to, right? So this handle shape is probably one of my number one things that I pay attention to. Anybody that's bought any of my knives before would typically tell you, if you've gone through the process with me, I'm a little bit of a pain in the butt, because I'm going to ask you to measure your hand. Okay. I need to know how wide it is, because I have huge hands.
Right.
All right, that not everybody does. And so I can't make a knife to fit my hand every time.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Because if I'm making a knife to fit my hand, and say Kelly Bullock buys it, no offense, Kelly, you're a dude, right?
Right.
It's just going to be comfortable for him. You know, like this knife right here. I had the guy literally send me measurements all the way around his hand, and then I sent him a picture while I was working on it, and I said, "Hey, man, you know, what do you think of the progress?" And he's like, "Well, is that blade a little small?" And I'm like, "No, it's not. It's made to fit your hand. It's still, you know, like a almost 6-inch, 7-inch blade."
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm like, "I just have, you know, larger hands." And he's like, "Really, that large?" And I, I put my hand next to a gallon milk jug and took a picture and sent it to him. He said, "Oh, okay." That was it. Left it at that.
He didn't realize there was a catching
yeah,
mitt wrapped around that handle.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, but yeah. So anybody that has gotten my knives before knows, I'm gonna spend a lot of time holding this knife. I'm not even kidding you when I say, like, this particular one. This is the one I'm thinking about keeping for myself.
Yeah.
I have literally driven around town all over the place for the last couple of days with it in my hand because I want to make sure there's no hot spots on it. I know it makes a little psycho, right? But I want to make sure there's not going to be any discomfort if I have to use it a lot. And that's something you have to watch for would be hot spots. So if I'm sitting here holding it, I'm going to know that. If I'm using it, yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you, almost every knife that I sell, not almost, every knife that I sell, I use before I sell it. My hand's not that. Are you feeling attacked, Kelly?
Yeah.
but yeah, like I made a custom knife for Caleb Page, the guy that owns Catch the Fever.
Yeah.
And he had ordered it, and people thought I was crazy because I went and I cut up my bait with it before I brought it to him. And I'm like, I gotta know it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, then I didn't do my job.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I prefer, David. Yeah, I love it when somebody comes to me and they're like, "Hey, this is," and I just cut my line. All right, I'm gonna have to reline that one. I went to put one of the knives away and hit my pole.
At least you got the pole in now. I see some knives that are probably capable of doing that.
Oh yeah.
Marty, welcome in, buddy. Thanks for stopping in. He said, "Let's get to the point." A little bad joke.
See what you did there.
That's another owner of one of your works of art, Justin Fitching Fetish.
All right, Justin, what's up, dude? Hope you're enjoying these night.
Yeah.
You got people coming out of the woodwork loving their job knives. KP.
Awesome. Kenneth, what's up, man? Yeah, you know what, that one that he's got, that was a sexy knife.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you have to get up and I'll have to find the pictures of it and send it to y'all later on.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I really liked making that one.
It's
and it's so light.
It's funny because every single person that mentions they've got a knife or, you know, whatever, you remember every detail about, because every piece, like you said, you made 200 knives last year, but you can remember everything about every one of them because you're pouring your passion, actual blood, sweat, and tears into each of these. You know, like Eric said earlier, you know, it's art. It's, you know, you're taking something raw and forming it into something either you know, practical for use or a collector's piece. But yeah, I agree 100% with Eric saying that you know, it's art form, but you could tell that it means that much to you because you remember every detail of every piece that you make, and you're riding around with an entire load of knives in the car because you just don't want to part with it.
Let's see if I can do a demonstration.
You just want to touch them.
Hopefully I won't cut myself.
Don't cut yourself, please.
No.
Well, I couldn't get them all in my hands, but I have a few with me. And there's more in the truck that I don't have up here.
Wow.
Even an axe that I made. But
Yeah, I think somebody would try to break into your car or just be casing you walking through the parking lot. I bet they think twice.
Yeah.
they better, yeah, because I would cry. If something happened, I wasn't here, and something happened. Oh my goodness!
Yes,
And my wife asked, "Why do you like your house at home? We're in the country." I said, "Honey, the amount of rods and reels alone that I have in here, not to mention my knives." Yeah. So I saw somebody asked about, was it Marty? I think about the type of steel for a bait knife.
Yeah.
You want something that's going to be durable. And you definitely want something durable that will hold an edge, but also depending on your level of care that you're going to provide it, you want to use something like even something like this. So this was an old farrier's rasp. I don't know if you guys can see it.
An old what?
Farrier's rasps. It's like a file. They use it to make the horses to shape their hoofs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a really aggressive file, basically. So something like that'll hold an edge like you wouldn't believe. It's just a very, very high carbon content steel. So something along those lines is definitely a good idea for a bait knife. You want something with a little bit of backbone, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I said earlier, you can take this fillet knife. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty knife. It's extremely sharp. It cut through those bull heads like butter. But I'm not going to take this and I'm not going to try to chop a carp's head off. Right? What's up, Mark? But yeah, so yeah, blade steel is super, super important. But not just that, knowing how to heat treat them is crazy. I'm not going to get into like the scientific part of it because I'll nerd out for way too long. But basically, as you're hammering through the steel, you're changing that steel's molecular structure.
Yeah.
So there's a process that you have to do to basically get those molecules to relax and to chill before you harden the blade. If you don't do that properly, then you're going to get a blade that is hard, yes, but is also inconsistent. So you'll have spots on it that aren't as hard as others. So you won't have a consistent edge. You won't have consistent durability. Things like that. So you have to be super, super careful in how you do those steps prior to dipping it in oil or water, depending on the steel. And then also, how you treat it afterwards too. Because when a blade comes out of the oil, it's literally hard as glass, and it will shatter. No joke, it will shatter just like glass.
Really?
A lot of people don't think it's true. I did a demonstration one time for some folks that were calling me out on it, and I took a blade and I took it out of the oil and I let it cool just a little bit because it actually gets harder as it cools. And then I just slapped it, like just on the side. I slapped it on the anvil and it broke into about 6 pieces.
Wow.
And it was an expensive, demonstration. But I thought it was important to show people because, I did everything else right, but then I didn't treat the blade right afterwards.
Yeah.
I didn't have a chance to take it. I didn't give it a chance to soften back up. So what they call tempering. That's where I take that hardness and I bring it back just a little bit. And so that if you don't do that properly, then your knife's not going to hold up, or your sword or whatever. One of the hardest ones I did, and to date, and probably will forever will be the hardest, is when I made that sword for Scott Swift. It was a Roman gladius.
Oh,
and
wow.
double-edged sword. It essentially has 4 edges on it because you have your 2 main edges, and then where it goes to a point is another 2 edges. because you can't just go and then dip down. No, you got to sharpen them separately. And but heat treating that was a beast.
I bet.
I had to customize my forge and all kinds of stuff because it was like 32 inches long.
Oh, wow.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's the story.
Hey,
I want to say a quick thank you to Becky. She's been out there dropping your links for the folks in the chat. So thank you, Miss Becca, for doing that. And check out some of Josh's stuff. So let's say somebody wants to get a hold of one of your knives. What's the easiest way to get a hold of you? And it sounds like, from what you're telling me, what the chat's all saying, it's a very engaged process, right? So, it's not like going to Walmart and you just grab one and go to the checkout, you're done. You want to make sure it fits that not only their needs, but also their actual grip and life, lifestyle of it.
Yeah.
So what's the best way to get a hold of you?
The easiest probably is just through Facebook.
Right.
You can either go to the page, which is Uncle Josh's Bladesmithing, or you can just look up Joshua Owens. I think it's really weird though. If you try to look me up, it comes up like Joshua H. Owens, which is not even my middle initial, but it's because I used to have a pies and pastry business. It was called Heavenly Creations Pies and Pastries. So at one point when I first got my Facebook, I was like Josh Heavenly Creations Owens, and they would go away. So they just changed it to H. But, so you could do that, or you could just do Uncle Josh's Bladesmithing at gmail.com.
Okay.
Cool.
I imagine
if you know.
If anybody wants to get a hold of you, it shouldn't be that hard to find, or you could always hit up me or Jeremy, and we'll connect the dots for you and put you in contact. But
absolutely, yeah, definitely. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. Several people have my number, so if any of y'all have it and you want to share it with somebody privately, hey, that's cool. You mentioned about the detailed process, of getting ready to buy a knife. It really starts when you first ask, hey, how much are your knives? That's the first question I always hear. How much are your knives? And I'm like, well, how much do you want me to make?
Yeah. That depends a lot.
It does. Because I've done anything from like a $150 bait knife on up to the most I've done so far is $540. But that was for a sword.
That's for a big job.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of time. I actually had to hire muscle, literally, to finish that because we were trying to get it done before Scott's birthday. I think we cut it real close. It was a little bit after his birthday, but so I got my nephew to come in and I started teaching him how to forge, and so all of those kind of things they affect price. I always tell people my knives are not the cheapest in the world. If you're looking for a cheap knife, I can definitely point you in the right direction, like a Bubba Blade or something like that.
Yeah.
These are more of like a one-off, one-of-a-kind custom. I don't do two knives alike, ever. I had somebody recently say, hey, can you make this knife for me? And I was like, well, I can make you my interpretation of it, but no, I'm not copying a knife off of.
Not going to be a copy, exactly. And that's the beauty of getting something custom made. Yeah. It's the only one like it in the world. That's it. Yeah. There's no other one like it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like even this, this is a Japanese chef's knife.
Oh, right, that is so cool.
My interpretation of one, and you can't really tell it, but it's only beveled on one side. The other side is flat.
Really?
Yep. So it's maybe you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
See it there. So it just makes it easier for chopping up vegetables and things like that. That's what this knife is for. But like this, that's it's you can't see it good, but it's a bright orange. and it's burl. So it's a type of disease that some trees get that make a really cool pattern. So people capitalize on that. It's oh, sorry.
No, like I thought Roger had froze up again. And look, guys, we apologize. We're having video issues. We're having audio issues. Josh is in a parking lot trying to get us the best signal he can. I'm in a hotel room in God knows where, Mississippi, and Roger's just Roger.
I'm home. You know, I'm still freezing up. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, it's one of those nights. It just is. But we promised we'd bring you this show, so you get to come.
Danny.
I'm guessing that's an inside joke.
Man, now habanero, that's a weak one.
Oh boy.
I got those chocolates from Anna, Palmetto's wife.
Yeah.
And so she works with hot peppers. She grows them all herself, makes all these amazing things out of them. Well, we were at CatCon and I was like, I want to get some chocolates. I was like, can I just buy what you got left? And because I like spicy stuff, and then I also like to mess with people. So yeah, I messed with a few. I think, probably a lot of people in this chat, possibly, including we had got to meet some of the folks from Hook, Line, and Chill. Chrissy got some. Yep, Chrissy and Ernie both tried them, but they were really good. But so the folks from Hook, Line, and Chill, I asked them. And I was like, y'all like spicy stuff? Do you want to try some chocolate from this lady over here? And the one girl was like, yeah, sure, I'll try it. And she got the, was it ghost pepper? It was ghost pepper chocolate. Bless her heart. And she was a redhead too, so she was already, prone to gingeritis. And her face got so red. But yeah, those chocolates were awesome. Yeah, we recommend.
When it comes to heat, man, I can't handle it.
Yeah, I don't like it. Yeah, and it's funny coming from me, but I don't like all that heat either, believe it or not. I really don't. Everybody's always so surprised by that.
Well, that's a different kind of heat too. You got a heat that goes with Cajun food.
Yeah.
What's up, Dominic?
And then you got stupid heat that, really could only go with like chocolates or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shell says she ready to go back and get more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I definitely. I'm when Anna makes more, I'm gonna probably get some more. At least some stuff. She had this one thing that I still use, and I'm getting low on, but she made her own habanero powder for cooking with.
Ooh, really?
I literally put that crap on everything. I put it on a hot dog. Everything. It's really good. Yeah. And I'm proud of myself for filtering. I didn't cuss.
Yeah.
Nice.
Put that on everything.
That is impressive.
Not so much going out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
always the other half.
Yeah, the exit isn't pleasant.
No. Just like I told you, I'm sitting at the restaurant. It's a Mexican restaurant, so
yeah,
my belly's rumbling.
Oh, the pre. I didn't know if we was pre or post.
Oh yeah, it was post. Yeah, I had already ate. No, I already ate. So I was sitting out here after eating. So this is post pain.
So there's a thunderstorm brewing in your belly right now.
Oh, is it? Yeah, it looks pretty rough.
Well, and look, I'm with you because about 20 minutes before I jumped on the stream, you'd have been so proud of me. I absolutely smashed some Taco Bell. So I'm with you. I know. Yeah, I got you.
Oh yeah. So when your signal goes out, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
it happens. It happens.
does.
I really like what Anna does with those chocolates. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, for those who may not know, not only is Josh a expert blacksmith, also a trained chef. So all this food talk, this isn't just food talk. We're on the professional level here.
Yeah, we got to be real careful here. We'll make ourselves look silly pretty fast.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's it's funny. I actually, you guys don't even know this yet, but I'm getting ready to launch a line of barbecue sauce.
Really?
Yeah. I've been working on it for years, and me and a buddy of mine had kind of perfected it and got it just right, and then a local restaurant owner is partnering with me, and we made our first test batch last night and bottled it and giving it out to different restaurants in the area to taste. So hopefully, fingers crossed, all will go well, and we'll get approval from USDA and everybody, and be able to sell it.
What base are you guys
online and stuff. I'm sorry.
What base?
So that's a tough one because you have people that are talking like ketchup base versus vinegar base.
Right.
Mine is both.
Okay.
Mine is both. I call it sweet with a little bit of heat because it has a ton of brown sugar in it.
Okay.
And then some ginger, some cayenne.
Okay.
So it's got a little bit of that bite that hits you right in the back of the throat, but after all the sweetness. So
when it's officially for sale, immediately message me right away.
Yeah,
I will. Definitely.
I like a little bit of heat, but I like the sweet. If it's going to have heat, then I like the sweet with it. So that sounds like right up my alley there.
Yeah, it's just one of those when you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying hello there, and Tom said, "Josh, I need more apple bourbon."
Yeah. That I need to make some more of that. So Tom and Michelle have had some of my sauces, including this primary sauce. And I made a batch for them of apple bourbon barbecue sauce, and I put down a entire bottle of apple bourbon.
Oh boy!
Nice.
It smelled so good in the house when I was making that.
I guess so.
What's up?
Yeah, we could probably do another show just on the food side.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised we held out this long talking about food. I'm pretty impressed with the three of us. We held out for like 50 minutes.
Yeah, he was.
We did that.
His passion and obsession with the blacksmithing is strong enough to held off. But we could do a whole nother show just on the Food Network here.
Oh yeah, because you'll find a lot of the knives that I make for myself are food related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's
chefs.
That's one of the primary purposes of knife is for culinary.
Yes, and you can get real specialized when you start getting into knives for preparing food, whether it's cutting meat, cutting vegetables, or doing whatever. You can get very, very specialized. A knife that's just made to do one thing and one thing only, but gotta have it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. Like this knife I showed y'all here, and I'm losing a little bit of light, but this one, the only thing I use this knife for is cutting vegetables.
That's exactly what it's designed to do.
Yep. It's what it was perfectly designed for.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that happens a lot with people who just don't know. They aren't educated, let's say. They use the wrong blade design for the wrong thing, and it just doesn't work the way they want it to. You can't, not to say you can't. You're going to have a hard time dicing an onion with a fillet knife.
Yeah.
You can, Yeah, you can, but it's not going to come out the way you want it to if you don't cut the end of your finger off trying.
Exactly. Yeah. That's absolutely correct. It's just like if I took this butcher knife right here, yeah, it'll cut vegetables.
I love that thing.
It will. Do I want to be going like this with a knife that weighs almost 2 pounds? No. I don't. I'm a big dude, but I'm gonna get tired.
And you see, the first thing I think of when I see that big old butcher knife is that's what everyone uses to clean and process alligator gar. Is a big, heavy honking knife like that to cut that thick skin off the top, break those bones. That's what you got to have.
Yeah, that's
the funny thing is, it breaks my heart a little bit too, though, to see them doing that, because I think, I'm thinking culinary, but I'm also thinking knife maker, because I make sheaths out of gar skin. So, that's I do all my own leather work and everything. So I'll take gar skin and I'll tan it just like you would a deer hide.
Okay.
And make a sheath out of it. I don't have any with me because I sold the last one, but that stuff, because a lot of people don't realize with gar, especially, that's close to my heart. Because their scales aren't scales at all. Their scales are actually ivory, just like a tusk on a woolly mammoth, something like that. They're ivory. So, like for me, I can't sit there and punch holes in it like I would leather, because that's how I do all my holes by hand. And so I have to use a drill press to actually drill holes for my stitches. It's insane. So when I think, it breaks my heart when I see people doing that with the alligator gar. It's for that reason, but also the waste of meat, because when I clean a gar, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have a angle grinder, 4.5-inch angle grinder with a metal cutting wheel.
Yeah,
and I
split it.
2 seconds.
Yep,
I have that sucker wide open.
A cordless skill saw actually works pretty good for that too, believe it or not.
It does. Yep.
Yeah.
You can use those little zip saws. Hey, Art.
Yep.
But yeah, so I've used my knives before. As a matter of fact, I used this one to clean the last gar that I did, just to say that I did it. This is an elk antler handle. And yeah, I mean, it's a stout little knife, but it's still like, trying to chop through it. It was a lot of work, man. I was like, I just wish I had my grinder.
It takes something really heavy that's why, traditionally around here, guys use big cane knives.
Yes.
Because they're big, heavy, and it's actually a little bit of a flexible blade, and they pack that top, they just shave that top off so they can. That's the old traditional way of doing it around here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like to think too, when I'm cutting one up, is I'm thinking ahead, like, how am I gonna process this?
Yeah.
What do I need? Do I need the white of the belly, which is mostly what I use, or do I need a contrast between the dark and the light where they come together? So I'm gonna have to be more careful, with the back of it that way.
Yeah.
Hey, Brendan.
If we could find a way to ship you an alligator gar hole, I don't know how in the world I'd pull that off, though.
Dude, I'm gonna make a trip at some point. I'm coming your way.
Yeah, I've been saying because the alligator gar have that different color, different texture than all the others. It's a totally different thing.
It is. And I mean, that's some of the best eating fish you'll find. There's any gar, really.
Finally, somebody knows the truth.
Yeah, it is, and it's such a crazy, different texture too.
Yeah.
And to me, I like it because I don't want a fish that's mushy. I'm sorry, but what the crap am I going to do with mushy fish? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
I make sushi and stuff like that at home, and if I got mushy fish for my sushi, it's not going on my rice. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I don't care how it smells, how it looks. If it's mushy, it's not happening. So, but that's just personal preference.
I agree. I agree. That is my favorite fish to eat, hands down. It is top 3 favorite meal of anything for me.
Wow.
So yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now this is where you're probably going to hate me, but I have one fish that is just slightly above gar for me. And this is, a lot of people will, yeah, absolutely, Ken. A lot of people don't agree with me, but I don't care. And that's a freshwater drum. Freshwater drum.
Not put it above gar, but I love freshwater drum. We call them goot down here. I love them. We eat them all the time. Love them.
They're absolutely delicious, man.
Yep.
It's just something different about their meat. It's awesome. And then you can get pretty big ones too. So that's kind of nice.
Lyle Stokes just got a headache, but he has no idea why. Because we're talking about eating drum. And he's like, why does my head hurt? What's going on? Why?
He hears that drumming in his head, don't he?
Yep, that's right. He hears it.
You guys actually see, if you browse our older videos on One Ton Fishing Club, I have a video on there where I make seafood boil, and it's a catfish and seafood boil. Well, more often than not, I actually do that recipe with either gar or drum because it just holds up there. Literally just like a crab boil or something like that.
Yep.
Oh yeah, blackened drum. Yep.
The next one we catch, the next big goo we catch, that is going to be my next live cooking. I'm going to show the world it's good to eat. This is how you do it.
There you go.
Good idea. Hey, have you done the Asian carp yet?
No, I have not. I'm too chicken to do it. I have not cashed in on it yet. I was hoping you weren't going to bring it up, but I will. I promise you I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it. I promise you. It's been like a year and a half, but I promise.
I've been watching a lot of videos on it because we don't have them around here at all. So
you're lucky.
If I go somewhere like where you are, I want to catch some just to try it.
We got plenty of those here. We got some big ones, big, like 40 plus big.
We got 40 here now. We went from which they've been here. There's no denying they've been here. They didn't get 40 pounds overnight. They didn't swim straight from Mississippi to my house.
Yeah, they're not a fast-growing fish at all.
But we got guys that they're here now, and they're starting to snag them, and of course, they don't throw them back. So down here at the dam, we've got 30s and 40s laying all over the bank. And actually, I think last week, J-Dog told me that the Kentucky state record Asian carp was caught at 71 pounds.
Wow.
Ooh, that's big.
Yeah. So
that's the thing that kills me, though. I know I always try not to go out on rants on people's channels, but I hate to see any fish wasted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, there's something it could have been used for, even if it's just compost in your garden. Grind that stuff up, add it to your soil, and you'll have some of the best fishy tomatoes you'll ever have. Yeah. But something just to just throw them out, just so they'll die. I've seen people literally, and that's what made me start to go into using gar and stuff like that, is because I keep seeing people throw them out. They'll catch them on the bank, throw them up in the woods until let them just sit there and die and rot. And I'm like, man, that could be used for something. And then a buddy of mine caught one day and messaged me and was like, hey, could you use this? And I'm like, yeah, I'll try it. And then it was on then, man. I mean, I love them. Yeah. Ask Josh, is he had Mexican? Yeah, yeah. I'm at Mexico Viejo.
Yep, we are post Mexican. It's in the fermentation process.
It is
coming along nicely. Coming along nicely. It's almost the temperature.
Steeping.
Yeah.
It's steeping.
The mash is almost ready.
There you go. Dad said, "Sorry, Roger, for saying it. They're there to stay."
Oh,
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it was just a matter of time. You know.
Yep.
We try to. You know, it is what it is.
And there's so many uses for those things that like people could take and go and take a mass of them, and you can literally like turn them into dog food or you know.
There are companies that are using that. There's commercial needs for those fish. It just unfortunately the numbers. I don't know their reproduction rate and all that stuff, but apparently they can reproduce quickly. Human is the only predator to those fish, except for in the smaller stages. The catfish is the only predator to that fish. But once they reach a certain mark, they have no known predators or any way to slow them down or take them down other than humans. So.
Yeah. There's one channel I watch sometimes, and anybody who's seen it knows why. But it's called 402 Outdoors. Okay. So Sasha, she's a great bow fisherman.
She is. Absolutely, she is.
But they catch a lot. But one thing I like about them is they've gone into saying what they do with it, and he actually eats them sometimes too.
Yeah.
But they put them in a barrel and they take them home and they use them for compost.
Yeah.
Or they give it to their
neighbors. I'm sure, like in Louisiana, like many other places, once you catch one, it's illegal to put it back in the water alive. You've got to do something with it. So they're actually removing them and, like I said, doing something with them.
Yeah, it's nice to see. Plus, it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know, who wouldn't want to go out and bow fish something that's 40, 50, 60 pounds?
That's right.
Fight that sucker. Yeah. Kind of cool. The only time I've ever bow fished in my life was back home for trout and salmon. So
yeah,
there you go.
I don't know if that was legal or not, but I was a kid. So.
Who knows?
Well, guys, it is about that time. I know that I appreciate everybody hanging out in chat. I know that our audio and sometimes video has been off the wall tonight, and that does make for a very difficult video to watch. So I appreciate all of you guys sticking through. The crackling and popping of the audio. We'll have it straightened out hopefully next week. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Josh, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with. You're sitting in the dark now over there. But really appreciate it. And man, I learned a lot tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
I learned a lot tonight, and I think that like what Eric said, that your artwork is a true passion, and it was neat to kind of showcase some of that tonight. And somebody's watching tonight and feels like they'd like to get their hands on a custom made piece and get a hold of Uncle Josh, and he will walk you through what your needs and desires are.
That's right.
But, and if you don't have a lot of time on your hands to wait for one, I've got a few that are available and ready to go. So just reach out and maybe one of them will be suitable.
You'll pull one off the front seat of the truck. Good to go.
That's right.
I don't know about you guys. At several different parts, Crocodile Dundee came to mind when he was whipping that big gut hook knife out. You call that a knife?
That's not a knife.
This is a knife.
That's it.
Oh boy.
Hey, thanks a lot, everybody, for hanging out with us. Josh, thank you.
Yep.
And brother, appreciate it. You have to come back on and talk to us again. We'll just go for culinary. We'll just design it that way. That way we don't feel guilty about eventually going straight food.
Absolutely.
We'll just start out food.
Yep.
There we go. So, yeah.
So, all right, we're going to head out of here, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday night. Same cat time, same cat channel. Good night, everybody.
Bon fish, everybody.
Everybody, thank y'all.